Before the night ended, Liora would stand between a broken goddess and a forest that could survive only in darkness. The full moon drew Liora deeper into the forest, where the air felt older, colder, and filled with a waiting kind of silence. A pulse of magic moved through the trees, and her staff answered it, as if the woods themselves were calling her forward. Hidden behind the ancient trees, a still black lake reflected the moon like a polished mirror no human path should have found. Then the moonlight gathered on the water, shaping a silver path toward the center of the lake. From that silver path, a girl rose out of the water without a sound, as if the moon itself had given her form. Wherever the girl stepped, the ground turned to frost, and the night around her seemed to hold its breath. She never looked back, but Liora followed, knowing some mysteries become more dangerous when ignored. The deeper they went, the stranger the forest became, alive with silver insects, restless mist, and watchful dark. On the earth behind the silent girl, Liora found icy footprints that refused to melt beneath the moon. Ancient stones marked the path ahead, each carved with forgotten lunar symbols worn down by centuries. Even the forest creatures watched her pass in silence, as if they recognized something holy or terribly old. The living woods gave way to a blighted clearing where rot and shadow had rooted themselves deep into the earth. When Liora touched the blackened bark, she felt dark magic trapped inside it, pulsing like a wounded heart. The girl crossed beneath a twisted arch of roots, and Liora stepped after her into a deeper, older darkness. Beyond the arch, the forest no longer felt wild. It felt preserved, like a memory refusing to die. Ruined shrines emerged from the roots, proof that this place had once been sacred long before it was feared. Old offerings lay abandoned in the moss, showing that others had come here before and never returned unchanged. As the wind moved through the trees, Liora felt the forest whisper with trapped echoes she could not fully understand. Her staff revealed a glimpse of the past, when moonlight blessed these woods and the people still worshipped here. At the edge of a ravine, the silent girl walked across a bridge made only of light. Liora followed onto the impossible bridge, each careful step hanging over a depth the moon could not fully reach. On the far side stood a ruined temple, vast and broken, half swallowed by roots and shadow. The girl climbed toward it without hesitation, and Liora felt the night tighten around every step. Inside, the temple still carried traces of its former glory, but decay had already claimed its silence. The first mural showed a moon goddess blessing the forest, filling it with calm light and living grace. The next revealed betrayal, as ancient hands bound that same goddess beneath rising shadow and corrupted roots. The roots in the temple were still alive, and they breathed through the stone like something feeding below. At the sealed inner chamber, the silent girl knelt as if she had finally reached the end of her purpose. When the sanctum opened, Liora saw the truth, a moon goddess still imprisoned at the heart of the forest. The goddess did not rage. What Liora felt instead was sorrow vast enough to fill the entire ruin. As silver light connected the girl to the goddess, Liora understood they were never separate beings at all. The moment that truth surfaced, the corrupted magic woke and turned the temple against her. Shadow spirits rose from roots and broken stone, guardians of the darkness that had kept this place alive. Liora answered with blue fire from her staff, holding the spirits back as the sanctum trembled around her. The fight drove her between falling stone and black smoke, every second bringing the temple closer to collapse. Then the moon's daughter opened a path of silver light, guiding Liora toward the altar at the center. On the altar, ancient runes revealed the cost hidden beneath the chains and the forest's fragile life. The woods were surviving on stolen divine power, sustained by the corruption wrapped around the goddess's prison. If Liora broke the chains, the forest would lose the dark force that had been keeping it alive. But if the goddess remained bound, the corruption would spread until nothing pure survived within these woods. With one touch, the silent girl showed Liora her true origin, a final prayer shaped into moonlit form. What seemed alive was only half living. The forest had been preserved in a beautiful and terrible suspension. For one trembling moment, Liora stood between mercy and survival, knowing either choice would leave a wound. The temple began to tear apart, and the darkness gave her no more time to hesitate. Liora drove her staff into the altar and chose truth, even if truth would cost the forest everything. The chains cracked, the roots fought back, light and darkness collided through every stone of the sanctum. Then, the moon's daughter gave up the last of herself, dissolving into silver light to complete the release. Freed at last, the moon goddess rose in blinding radiance, and the corruption could no longer hold. Across the forest, black magic was torn from bark and root as the night itself seemed to shudder. Without that stolen power, the woods began to wither, falling into a quiet that felt almost sacred. Yet from the dying forest, trapped spirits finally rose free, leaving the trees in peace for the first time. At the lake, the last reflection of the moon's daughter faded into the water, leaving only silver ripples behind. By dawn, the old forest was gone, but from the still earth, new silver life had already begun to grow.